Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play Blades of Avernum. Now you may be wondering, why am I back here when last episode we ended in a completely different location? Or you may be wondering what the hell I'm talking about. The answer is because of the last episode I happened to do an action that completely broke the sequence of events in the game. So, I'm going to undo that by just I'm still going to put the last episode in there. I mean, I'm still going to upload it, but you can skip it if you want. I'm going to mention that. Probably already did if you glanced at that. So, this episode, we're just going to do that again. So, let's go. Last episode, we had found out exactly what is going on, or read some things. I don't even remember. I'm strange with things, okay? Let's get out of here. Leave the room. Actually, let's keep this on for now. This hallway is now clear of guards. Seems Alerbus and his retinue have already left. That was quick. The Black Wizard demanded that Alerbus find you, and now he departed with his entire retinue, apparently with that purpose in mind. It is good that he doesn't know where you are, but not so good that your capture is important enough for the head of the Order to drop everything he's doing to chase after you. You are a marked man, but you do not even know why. Can't go in there. We're down here, we can swap back into the shirt, I think. Descend. And let's get out of here. Yes, depart the manse. Odd. Lucan is no longer standing in the plaza below. He must have given up on waiting for you. The guards standing at the foot of the stairs step out to block your progress. You look at them in puzzlement. One of them, a captain, begins, "Sir, your detainment has been commanded by Order 517A, Executive Decree." Panic begins to rise within you. You turn to flee, but find that the guards at the top of the stairs are slowly descending towards you, halberds held out to block your retreat. Somebody grabs you firmly by the wrist, but you don't bother to struggle. The captain continues in his matter-of-fact tone, "Step this way, sir." You are led into the manse, but not by the front doors. You are taken around to the deserted servants' passageways, a maze of corridors and passages that wind throughout the manse, hidden from the guests. Your guards make no attempt to blindfold you or keep you from knowing where you are going. They do not hit or hurt you, or otherwise roughly handle you. They act more like an escort than guards who have just arrested you. Any questions you ask are ignored. Occasionally, the leader makes a hand motion to indicate which way to go, but otherwise you might as well not exist. In this silent fashion, you make your way through the manse. Eventually, you reach a dead end. The captain approaches a blank wall, and suddenly the wall swings open. You aren't sure what he did to open it. His back shielded him from view. Nor do you have much time to contemplate this before the guards that flank you thrust you through the secret door. You find yourself in a small bedroom, furnished like any other of the manse's guest quarters. You're about to ask for the umpteenth time what this is all about, but when you turn, you see that the wall is already swung shut. You are alone. You are surprised to find that your door was unlocked, and even more surprised to find that the hallway is not guarded. For a man who was just arrested, you are being given a remarkable degree of freedom. You proceed cautiously down the tiled corridor, wondering why you were brought here. Sign doesn't say anything, the door won't budge. Okay. You step into a large meeting room, richly furnished and elaborately decorated. A large marble table occupies the center of the room, at which several well-dressed men are seated. Here, too, you encounter no guards, only the important-looking nobles that are seated at the table. You scan the table, but do not recognize any of the many faces until you reach the head of the table, where sits Governor Talus himself. It is he that rises to greet you, and the others follow suit. "Welcome, Theodore Morose. Or should I say, Artemis Black?" You look at him in shock. They know who you are. Surely you are done for. "Yes, we know you are using counterfeited papers. We know you are the one the Order is seeking so desperately. But that is not why we brought you here. I think, Artemis, that we have a common enemy. That makes us friends, doesn't it?" He grins, but it's hardly reassuring. "We have a request for you, Artemis, and I think you'll agree to help us. After all, that's what friends are for." Sure. For the record, right here is where I made the goof up. Also, it just got dark. Apparently it thinks this is outside. But yes, this is where I made the goof up. Unfinished. This game is unfinished, but if you try talking to some of these characters, specifically these ones in the purple and red, then it ends up bringing up what is effectively a later conversation. So, not going to do that this time. Instead, this is where I should go. Talus smiles as you take your seat. He begins immediately. If you haven't already figured it out, I am Talus, governor of Cyprus. The men sitting with us are the Council of Cyprus, a body of merchants, nobles, and otherwise worthy men who aid me in leading our city. I'd go around the table and introduce them to you, but it seems such a waste of time. Besides, we already know who you are, and that is what is important. Isn't it, Artemis? Why have you brought me here? A fair question. I am sorry about our rather rough invitation. We needed to meet with you, but we could hardly have you walk right into our meeting hall in plain sight of the Order or anyone else who should care. I trust Captain Mar didn't mistreat you? You still haven't answered me. Right you are. I see my dodging is bothering you, so I will get straight to the point. The Order has, for all intents and purposes, conquered Cyprus. We tolerated this for a time because it was more convenient to do so than resist. This is no longer the case. The oppression of the people, fines, and insufferable taxes are eating away at Cyprus's prosperity. We have long been a thriving trade city, but soon we will become a ghost town. The Order of Blood must be dealt with. That is why you are here. Why don't you deal with them yourselves? A good question. Cyprus is not a militaristic state, but we have more than enough resources and soldiers to fight off a bandit rabble, even if it's an organized and well-supplied group like the Order. The Order's takeover wasn't a violent one, though. They wouldn't have stood a chance in such an effort. Instead, they have coerced us into allowing their presence, and here we are powerless against them. What do? They have placed a magical weapon on Gino Isle, an island approximately a mile offshore of Cyprus. How they got the device there, what it looks like, or how it works are all mysteries to us. All we know is that it is a tremendously powerful weapon. They first appeared 7 months ago and demanded that we grant them Gino Isle for them to establish a headquarters. Naturally, we refused. They proceeded to unleash this weapon on a trade vessel as it departed Cyprus harbor. The ship was reduced to splinters. Fearing an attack on Cyprus itself, we promptly gave in and granted them Gino Isle. What happened next? An uneasy standoff followed. We knew we couldn't tolerate this weapon to remain where it could strike at Cyprus, but any attack we made would only spark a counterattack, likely on the city itself. The stalemate would last for a month, however we weren't the ones to break it. What did they do? They demanded the right to search Cyprus for infidels. We had already assumed that the Order was some sort of fanatic cult, so their interest in evangelism and routing out heretics wasn't surprising. Obviously, we weren't willing to grant their wish, but we had an idea. We'd allow them to come to Cyprus, thus splitting their forces between here and Gino. We agreed to allow them entry. They dispatched a force of roughly 200 men. We in turn sent 3 galleys loaded with men in an attempt to storm Gino and destroy this weapon once and for all. Not a single ship reached its destination. Why? What happened? A massive ball of white-blue energy struck our flagship, destroying it utterly and damaging the remaining 2 ships, one of which soon sank. This is as described by the survivors of the 3rd ship, which made it back. They'd been expecting us, and our hopes of a preemptive strike had failed. What was the result? The result? The result was the conditions on Cyprus as you now see it. We had no choice but to give the Order free reign of the island. As their first order of business, they arrested and tried 30 wizards, mostly of the Conclave. They proceeded to begin their campaign of fines, arrests, bullying of the public, and generally lining their pockets at Cyprus's expense. We can do nothing. As long as they have that weapon, they hold the power to destroy Cyprus. We have tried to make the best of this by covering up the attacks. There would be panic if the general populace knew, and no merchants would dare come to trade here. So to many it appears that we laid down without a fight. The Order's sudden appearance and almost overnight takeover at Cyprus came as such a shock that no one knew what to think. How does this involve me? We need somebody to infiltrate the Order outpost on Gino Isle and to find and destroy this magical weapon. In the event that this attack fails, the agent carrying it out must not be traced back to us. The result would be disastrous. The Order pursues you, they are your mortal foes. If you are caught in an attack on them, nothing will be thought of it except that you fell right into their hands. You don't need any ulterior motives, and they will not look for any. And what makes you think I'll agree? We wouldn't turn you over to the Order. We will not constrain you or otherwise hinder you if you choose to leave. But what choice do you have in the matter? What would you do if you decline? The Order is scouring the island for you. They know you are here. Where will you go? How will you escape? If you help us, you will strike a great blow to your enemy. I think that is reason enough for you to help, but we are willing to grant you an additional boon in return for your aid. In there, he indicates the hallway you just stepped out from, is a fully operational teleportation platform. It is the only way out of Cyprus, and we will allow you to use it for just that. More than generous for simply requesting you attack your own foe. Don't you agree? You ponder it over. Seems fair enough. This may indeed be your only way out, as your teleportation rod lacks focusing gems and a power source, and perhaps in exploring the Order's headquarters you'll find some of the answers you seek. We have a deal, then? Yeah, I'll do it. Talus smiles again, this time genuinely. Excellent. General Stassen will brief you on the plan of action. General? Talus nods to the man sitting at his right, a precise man who seems to radiate military efficiency. At Talus's gesture, he stands, clears his throat, and begins. Our plan to eliminate the Order's presence here on Cyprus is twofold. First, you will infiltrate the Geno outpost and destroy the weapons positioned there. This threat gone, a force of Cypriot soldiers will attack the island. The most important part of the plan is your task, the elimination of their weapon. As long as it is operational, no Cypriot can move against Geno. We do not know what it looks like, where it is, or how to destroy it. That remains up to you. When this threat is neutralized, you will signal us with a flare. We will then know it is safe to deploy our forces. Signal only when your task is complete. If we attack while the weapon is operational, Cyprus itself will likely be destroyed. But I am sure that our busy councilmen have better things to do than listen to this, so that is all I'll say for now. We have set up a staging ground on a small peninsula to the southeast. Meet us there, and I will complete your briefing. It's a date. The general sits and Talus nods. Thank you, General. With that, Artemis, I will leave you. You may exit through the secret passage you came in by. It will be open for you. Here is a map of the way out. Talus passes you a piece of parchment, which you give a perfunctory glance before you pocket. Governor Talus stands and exits through the main doors. The council rises and follows him out. Well, that could have been worse. I can't see me! Oh, there I am. You reach into your pocket to pull out the map of the servants' passages and find that there are now 2 parchments. Unless you're seriously mistaken, Talus's map was only 1 sheet. The first parchment is indeed the map. The second parchment you have never seen before. It simply reads, Meet me at the Western Estate and the Governor's Plaza. There is much that needs to be explained. Odd. You didn't put this in your pocket with the map, so somebody else must have placed it there. Presumably the note's author. Must have been one of the councilmen, but why? More questions, but at least this time there's the promise of answers. Very curious indeed. So let's get out of here. You place your palms on the secret door that you know is behind this tapestry, feeling for any hidden buttons or switches. You find none. Eventually you give the wall an experimental shove, and to your surprise it easily rotates to reveal the passage through which you came. Okay, quest was added to my list, and a quest was completed. Let me just take a look here. Investigate the order, a mysterious note, and end to the order. Okay. Climb the stairs? Yeah. Navigating the maze of passages is a bit more difficult without guards to lead you, but with the map Talus provided you managed to do so with only a few dozen wrong turns. You emerge in what seems to be a storage shed. A Cypriot guard stands watch, but makes a pointed effort to look right through you. As far as the Order, or anyone else for that matter, is concerned, you were never here. Alright. So it said to look in here. Who are you? Someone who doesn't respond. Name of Aurelia, though. Stay here. Stay here. Stay here. Oh, there's a portal there, but it's not doing anything. Nothing in here. Ah, there's someone. This must be the man who left you the note. You vaguely remember seeing his face amongst the councilmen, a middle-aged face framed by jet-black hair that is beginning to give way to wisps of gray. His strong build and military demeanor mark him as a soldier, in case the ceremonial breastplate weren't enough of a giveaway. He stands to greet you as you enter the room. Welcome, Artemis. I apologize for the cloak and dagger, but I needed to speak with you, and I couldn't let the council know about it. Please take a seat. There are some things I must explain to you. Who are you? I should have properly introduced myself. I am Councilman Ty Berkeley, but more importantly, I am Sentinel Berkeley, captain of the Sentinel Chapter House in Cyprus. It is my understanding that you've had dealings with our organization in the past, which is why you were selected for this task. How does a councilman wind up as a sentinel? I began my career as an Empire Special Forces officer. Long story short, I defected and joined the Sentinels 18 years ago. I became a councilman 7 years later, pretty much the same way anyone else does. Amass a large enough fortune that your opinion begins to count in a merchant city like Cyprus. The main difference for me is that I'm not a merchant, have no trade vessels, and have amassed no fortune. I was given this position and the appropriate trappings by Virgo, not through my skill in business. But as far as the Cypriots know, I am a retired Empire dervish turned successful merchant. Who is Virgo? Virgo is the leader of the Sentinels. If you need to know anything more about him, you will hear it from his lips, not mine. What task is that? The task given you by the council. I'm afraid I am the one to blame for your enlistment, which is why I called you here. I feel I have some explaining to do. Alright, then start explaining. Why'd you select me? The council has been pressuring Governor Tallis to move against the order for months, but he's resisted. He's been unwilling to accept the risk it would place on Cyprus and its populace. But after his latest meeting with Alarbus, he finally realized that sharing Cyprus with the Order wasn't acceptable, that things would only get worse as time went on. There was a rather brief window where hotter heads might prevail. I took advantage. I and several like-minded councilmen convinced Tallis and the rest that action needed to be taken, and the plan, the one outlined to you by Stassen, was the only way to go about it. But why me? Well, the council refused to send one of his own men, for fear he can be traced back to us should he fail. We needed an outsider, and there was about a 24-hour window in which to find him before Tallis and the rest began to rethink this idea. Lucan had brought it to my attention that a capable agent, a wizard no less, was here in Cyprus, and was a friend of the Sentinels. I brought you to the attention of the council as a possible candidate, and they hesitantly agreed. I didn't think they'd realize you were the same wizard that the Order was searching for. I'm sorry that it worked out this way. I'm willing to aid you in whatever way I can. What aid can you offer? Well, it so happens that the Sentinels have done a bit of reconnaissance on Geno Isle, and know more about the Order than Cyprus does. Specifically, we know what this weapon of theirs is and how to destroy it. What can you tell me about the weapon? It is a Class 9 siege howitzer capable of accurately firing irradiated shells at a distance in excess of 1 mile. It is powerful and indeed is capable of firing and severely damaging Cyprus. The Class 9 is cutting-edge Empire artillery. As far as we know, only one exists, the C9 Catastrophe, developed 20 years ago for use in the Thamarian Revolution. It's since been decommissioned, as the Empire has mostly given up its artillery program in favor of its increasing dependence on battle mages and shock troopers in battle. How the Order wound up with a retired Catastrophe is unknown. We've looked into it, but haven't learned anything. What we have found, though, is the plans for the cannon. So how do I destroy the cannon? The cannon room itself is the most protected part of the tower. Our reconnaissance has revealed this. The gun's power supply, however, is not so heavily guarded. The Catastrophe is powered by 2 large power grids located in the basement. The cannon only actually needs a fraction of the power to fire, though, so the entire grid must be destroyed to truly incapacitate it. Sadly, an explosive large enough to knock down the entire grid would be massive, far too large to carry with you. I assume you have a plan. The solution lies within the tower itself. The highly volatile shell magazines are also in the basement. The Order has foreseen the risk they pose. Thick walls and heavy containment runes are in place to keep any accident in the magazine from spreading. Were it not for those runes, though, an explosion in the shell chambers would easily knock out both power grids. You must turn off the containment runes, gain entrance to the magazines, and detonate the shells. We have small explosives for this task. It won't take much to set those things off anyhow. Where are these explosives? They are in the Sentinel bunker beneath the sleeping Sentinel. Here, take this. He hands you a plain, unadorned amulet. This will get you through the appropriate barrier and into the storage room. Help yourself to whatever you find. The charges are remotely activated and on a timer. Due to the limit of the remote and the difficulty of transmitting through solid rock, you'll have to be in the basement to trigger the bombs. You'll have 5 minutes before detonation. Once the power is out, your part is done. Set off your flare and the men of Cyprus will move in for mop-up. What else can you tell me about the tower? The tower will be heavily defended, but you've already proven that the mages of the Order are little match for you. Nevertheless, be prudent and try to avoid unnecessary fights. Especially avoid the upper barracks levels, lest you be overwhelmed. How did you learn all this? As I said, one of our men did some reconnaissance on Geno Isle. He has great skill in the arts of stealth and illusion, and managed to infiltrate the tower unseen. Where should I go again? You can pick up the explosives in the Sentinel bunker beneath the sleeping Sentinel Inn. They're in a storage room protected by a magic barrier, but the amulet you have will give you clearance. The actual staging ground is to the southeast of here, on a peninsula almost due south of the sleeping Sentinel. General Stassen will go over your mission again when you arrive, but I think I've already told you everything. Also, what does Lucan have to do with this? Lucan came to report to me on the meeting between Talus and Alarbus, and told me a bit about you and your recent run-ins with the Order. He also mentioned that you were currently spying on Alarbus. You were the first one I thought of when I realized we'd need to find an ancient for this mission. Oh, I almost forgot. Lucan sends his regards and an apology that he couldn't be here. Very busy fellow, even for Sentinel. Alright. So now we know what we have to do. Well, in that case, let's head out of here. Oh, by the way, I don't believe I tried it now, so let's see, where is it? Ah, yes, this questionable teleportation rod. You look over the teleportation rod carefully. For what, you aren't certain. You're certainly no expert in such devices, but at least this one doesn't have any glaring flaws. You seriously contemplate the wisdom of using a sketchy teleportation rod, especially after your last experience. After much internal debate, you decide that if it's your only way out, you'll just have to try it. Resolved, you act quickly before you can change your mind. You press the only button on the rod, a bright red one in the center of the shaft, cringing in anticipation of your almost certain death. Nothing happens. You press the button again. Then again. You smack the rod against your palm, but to no effect. Suddenly you notice words appear in the crystal tip. Too much local interference requires more suitable location. What a jip. This thing probably never worked in the first place. Maybe it's for the best. At least it didn't kill you. Okay. Yeah, that thing doesn't work. Good to know. Alright, let's get out of here. And we know where to go, so let's head back to, the place. By the way, can we tell you that you fucked us over? Looks like we can't. Yeah. Screw you. Alright, down and around this way, through the empty, unfinished town. Still not sure why they need to do that. Why can't we just walk over the bridge? Is there some reason he doesn't want us to see it? No matter. Alright, here's where we need to go. There is nobody here anymore. Hold on. Out of the way, please. Thank you. Ah! The amulet glows briefly as you step through the barrier. Let's see if there's anything in any of these boxes we need. These must be the explosives that Berkeley told you about. They aren't very impressive, just 2 small parcels carefully wrapped so as to be waterproof. But they'll supposedly bring down the Order's siege cannon. Supposedly. You gingerly pick them up as though you were handling a live serpent. You're relieved when you have them inside your pack. Out of hand and out of mind. Also a beaker and mortar and pestle. Nothing there. And a bunch of armor. He said to help ourselves to the supplies, but we can't actually help ourselves to them. And can't go in there. Anything we can learn up here? No, I don't think so. Alright. out of here. We know where to go. I think we have just enough time to look over the peninsula here. As you approach the peninsula, a band of Cypriot soldiers appear from their hiding spots to surround you. The captain is the first to speak. Identify yourself. You do so. He nods. This is the one. Let him through. The circle opens up to allow you to pass, and the captain continues. The general is waiting for you in his tent. He will tell you more. Good luck. The lookouts vanish as quickly as they appeared, melting back into the surrounding boulders and trees to ambush anyone who isn't welcome here. You feel sorry for any poor sap who stumbles upon this place. Alright. Well, as I did not mean to do that! As I was saying, well, as I do, explore everything outside and then go inside. Also, nice designs for the trees. I've never seen those kinds of designs before. That's probably the vote we'll be taking, so I'm not going to look on there right now. Such a big empty area. I feel like there's got to be more to this place than what there is. That he probably intended to put more in than there is, but didn't for some reason. Unfinished, obviously that's why. Turn! Turn! They are actually turning. The captain nods in greeting, but is busy drilling his soldiers. The soldier nods as he hurries past, but has no time to talk. Soldiers in there. This large pavilion in the center of the staging grounds must be the one the Cypriot captain told you about. Sure enough, when you pull open the door flap, you find General Stassen waiting for you. He motions for you to enter the small mobile command center. As you step inside, you notice that he isn't alone. Standing at his side is a man wearing the uniform of a naval captain. Stassen is the first to speak. I'm glad you made it, Artemis. Cyprus is no longer safe for you while the order reigns. This, he gestures towards the man next to him, is Captain Rice. You shake hands with the captain. Stassen proceeds, Introductions now aside, it is time we go over our plan again. Come. Okay then. General Stassen wastes no time with small talk. Right, let's get down to business. We've waited long enough, and every moment we stay here is a moment we could be discovered. Artemis, you already know the goal of your mission, but allow me to recap. You must infiltrate the Order's base on Geno and neutralize their weapon by whatever means necessary. We haven't told you anything about the base itself, but that is because we simply don't know anything. We estimate the Order's strength to be 300 men, so clearly stealth and prudence are the way to go. No heroics. Captain Rice will tell you more. At the General's beckon, Captain Rice begins. I have selected one of my most trusted mariners to ferry you to Geno. He has handled sensitive transits for me before, and is more than capable for this mission. I also have 3 fully loaded war galleons for this mission. They will be waiting on your signal, upon which we will move in to attack Geno. When the weapon is disabled, you will signal to us by firing a flare. He hands you a small cylinder with a fuse dangling from the bottom. Once you fire the flare, your part in this matter is finished. You may return to the landing site and get out of the way. That is all. Are we clear? As crystal. Good. My man is waiting for you to the south. When you are prepared, he will ferry you to Geno. After that, you are beyond our help. Good luck. Your briefing complete, Stassen and Rice return to their planning. Okay, looks like the General Stassen and Captain Rice are engrossed in their planning, but eventually take notice of your interruption. Yes, Artemis, is something wrong? Everybody's waiting on you. Speak with Mariner Master. He's to the south. Alright, down over here. And this is where I will end this episode, because it's gone on long enough. And this is about as far as I'd gotten in that goof-up episode that I did last thing. I'll probably put a 0.5 at it or something. Anyway, we have our mission, and we know what we have to do. So, we will get on that. in the next episode. Till then, I'm Chester44, that is Artemis, this has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.